Welcome back, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt. Dr. Michael Oren was the ambassador of Israel to the United States for many years. Longtime friend of the program. He joins us today from Israel. Dr. Oren, I spent all of 1979 with Richard Nixon in San Clemente watching the Shah fall, watching Khomeini come. This is the first time since then I felt like the Iranian regime is really on its heels. How do you assess the situation?
Well, certainly it's the first time that Tehran has felt the wrath of any country since the Iran-Iraq War of the 1980s. Um, Israel, and generally W specifically, has been under Iranian proxy fire almost uninterruptedly for well over 2 decades now. But no one has ever fired a single shot at Iran. The United States, American bases were fired at almost 200 times during the Biden administration. No one ever took a shot back at Iran. The Houthis stopped international shipping through the Hormuz, through the Mandab Strait. No one ever fired a shot at Iran. This is the first time people are actually taking a shot at Iran, and the people from Tehran are fleeing the city in the tens and hundreds of thousands. They're not used to that. So the war has come back to Iran. Finally, there's a great justice in this. Call it karma.
Now, Dr. Oren, I want to know, do you have any worries about the intervention on behalf of Iran of someone else in the alliance of tyrants, whether it's Putin or North Korea or China? We know China went into the North Korean War in 1950. We know the North Koreans are now in Russia versus Ukraine. Any worries on your end about that?
Very few. I think Russia's got its hands full. And China is not yet a Middle Eastern power. It's not like the Chinese have what the Soviets had in 1967, 1973, a blue water fleet that went eyeball to eyeball with the American fleet and threatened to rain missiles down on Israel. They threatened to rain missiles down on Israel even in 1956, Mr. Molotov. So that's not happening right now. I don't see anybody coming to Iran's help right now, to Iran's aid. Iran is profoundly isolated. And I don't even think the Shiite Arabs in the Middle East feel particularly strongly about helping Iran at this point. Certainly, Iran never helped them.
Now, Ambassador Oren, I don't want you to kill Khamenei because I think he's the worst leader of the evil countries. He's old, he's infirm, he's made bad choice after bad choice for 30 plus years. What do you think is going to happen vis-a-vis the regime?
So the regime is in a very bad situation. Let me tell you what's happening in Israel tonight. Okay, so you see, I'm sitting in front of this computer. I'm not running into the shelter, which is next door. And what has happened is that Israel has systematically degraded Iran's missile arsenals and missile launching capabilities, which were legion. And we can see every night fewer and fewer missiles are targeting Israel. People are still getting killed, as you mentioned earlier in your show, and wounded, but with fewer and fewer missiles. So we went from 200 to 100 to 60 to 40 till tonight, 10. 10 into Haifa. The night is young, certainly, but fewer and fewer. And that means with the Israeli Air Force enjoying complete impunity in the skies of Iran, Iran is whatever metaphor you want. It's on the ropes, it's down the mat, it's on the mat, and it isn't getting up. Unless it has some horrible, doomsday weapon up its sleeve, which I doubt it has. It's finished. It's game over. They tried to engage us in a war of attrition to see which country, Israel or Iran, would cry uncle first, and that the uncle we were going to go to was Uncle Sam, because somewhere along the line this is going to end up at the negotiating table. And the question is, what will be the nature of those negotiations? And if we have our way, we continue to, if the United States continues to give us a green light and the wherewithal to press this war to its conclusion, then the Iranians will not come back to the negotiating table. They will crawl back to the negotiating table, and they will agree.
Dr. Oren,
to
you're a
dismantle.
historian. Yeah, you're a historian. You write books about all this. How do you rate Israel's achievement vis-a-vis its other, the Six-Day War, the comeback in '73, and Entebbe, the pagers, and the other attacks, the Hezbollah capitulation? How does this rate in terms of flexing of the Jewish state's muscle?
Bigger, bigger. Iran is much more distant than Egypt, Syria, and Jordan were in 1967, still are. Iran is a country that's vastly bigger. Its population, 80 million people. It is a nuclear threshold state. It is a state that controls huge swaths of the Middle East before the last year and a half. Bigger, but also we have to judge the wars by their outcome. I wrote a book called The 6 Days of War, now available at famously reduced prices. And the subtitle was June 67, Making of the Modern Middle East. And the thesis was you can't understand the Middle East, certainly in the 20th century, without understanding the Six-Day War. You will not be able to understand the Middle East in the 21st century without understanding this war. Because if the war turns out as I ardently hope it will, and the United States diplomacy, President Trump's diplomacy, will see it through, we'll have peace with Egypt and peace with Jordan, with Lebanon, peace with Syria, peace with Saudi Arabia, maybe type of arrangement with Palestinians, and maybe even peace with Iran. The Middle East.
Pause for a moment, Dr. Oren. I am back with Dr. Michael Oren from Israel. Dr. Oren, Bibi Netanyahu has been in a face-off with Ayatollah Khamenei for more than 30 years. How do you assess his performance over the last 96 hours?
Obviously an A+. But I also have to look at him not as a contemporary, but as an historian looking back 50 to 100 years from now. And Netanyahu has had his share of controversies. The government almost fell the night before the war over the question of ultra-Orthodox service in the IDF. And the minute there's a ceasefire, these issues will come back to the fore, and Israel will be divided again. And should we go to elections, Netanyahu will have his hands full. I always say to you, it's premature to eulogize him politically. He will still have a strong showing, but I think history won't remember the ultra-Orthodox service issue. It'll remember this. And I think that at West Point and at military academies around the world, they'll be studying this war for generations to come. And
my second question, how do you assess President Trump's what I call masterful ambiguity?
It's great. I go on the Israeli media many times during the day, and the first question is Trump in favor of this? Is he against it? Does he want a deal? Is he giving us a green light? Will he get involved? Will he want to go? And I always take a deep breath and I say, the answer to all those questions is yes. And they don't necessarily like that answer. The answer is, but the answer is yes. And I'm right about that. And it is ambiguity. It keeps everybody on their toes, keeps everyone, guessing and going crazy. But the bottom line, I have certain assumptions about what the president's universe looks like. He likes winners. Will you agree with me, Hugh? He likes winners.
I do.
Right now we are winners supreme, and he wants to be associated with the winners, and he also wants to be a peacemaker.
Now Fordo,
and
Fordo is out there.
I will say,
can you guys take out Fordo, or do we need to do that?
I don't know. I got this gut feeling that we can do it, not in the same way that America does it, but there's more ways to crack that nut. It can't be hermetically sealed. It's got to have air shafts. It's got to have entrances. There's got to be some way we can get in there. And I think with all of our ingenuity, keep in mind, we got Mr. Nasrallah in Beirut, and he was hiding beneath 60 feet of solid concrete. So we know how to get in. We can shave things off if we have time. It's all about time. And if we're given time and we can bring Iran to its knees and maybe even affect a regime change in Iran, then Mr. Trump will not only win one Nobel Prize, he'll win a shelf load of Nobel Prizes by bringing peace to Israel and all of our neighbors. It'll be a game changer. The Middle East that you and I knew our whole lives will be completely changed.
And it will change the arc of history. It already has. Dr. Michael Oren, I hope we talk to you. Stay safe. I hope your family is safe. I know that more than 30 Israelis have given their lives in this war, in this latest round of the war with Iran. So I know it's serious times in Israel, but thank you for joining me today.